Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Oldsmar City Council of Tuesday, June 20th, 2017 to order. If you will please rise for our pledge and our invocation that will be led by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Our Father in heaven, we press on with the work of the city in this final City Council meeting before Independence Day. Help us to think clearly without confusion, to speak honestly without rancor, to debate without division, and to decide courageously without contention. Grant your elected officials the grace to finish this week as patriots who love you and count it a high privilege to serve as leaders of our beloved community. We offer up our thanks and heartfelt appreciation for all our men and women in uniform, whether it be in the armed services, the Sheriff's Department, or our firefighters, all of which who place their lives on the line every day in order to protect our liberty, our personal, spiritual, religious, political, and economic freedoms. In this we pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, welcome. Probably a lot of first-timers here. We enjoy having first-timers at our council meeting. A little bit of housekeeping before we get to the Citizens Open Forum. We have a couple public hearings tonight, items 1, 13, and 14. Specifically about item 1, is anybody in the room going to speak towards that? Item 1, it's about Oldsmar Cares. How many? Okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just doing a little housekeeping. You won't be able to speak to that at the Citizens Open Forum because it is a public hearing, as are the other 2 items. So you'll have to be sworn in to speak towards item 1, so if that's okay. Having said that, the Citizens Open Forum is our first agenda item. It allows you to address the City Council. We only have a couple of rules: that you keep it to no more than 5 minutes. You state your name and address clearly for the record. And what other am I missing? Name and address.
Don't speak on any of the public.
Oh, yeah, and don't speak, because I already addressed it. And don't speak towards items 1, 13, and 14. If you're speaking towards those items, wait until we get to those because they are public hearings. So having said that, Citizens Open Forum on this side of the room. Anybody like to address the council? Yep.
Sudi Yantis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East, Oldsmar, Florida, in our wonderful town of Oldsmar. I am here as Miss Suda from Miss Suda's Dancers. I wanted to share that we have our summer program started up about 2 weeks ago. We have already 5 new students, waiting for some of the others to come back. And it's on Thursday evenings at the Cypress Forest Rec Center, 6:15 for 4 to 7-year-olds and 7:30 for 8 and up. And this week will be Princess Party for the little ones. We are hoping to have Princess Elsa and Princess Anna come in and visit, so I'm sure it'll be a big time. If you haven't had a chance, go on and check Miss Suda's Dancers on Facebook. We share with families' approval some great times that we have at classes. Also, want to thank the city and community. We had our recital at the end of May. 150 in the audience, and they were still standing. And we had almost 38 students. So we are very excited. The promotion, all of the new things that we're doing to work together is growing our program. And I want to say thanks again for all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work.
Good work.
And we hope to see Dan in a tutu as well. So.
Yeah, there you go.
It's mayor duty, but I'm delegating it to the vice mayor.
I'll wear a tutu.
Yeah, I bet you will.
And I'm really hoping I don't see that.
Yeah, I am too. Anybody else on this side of the room like to address the council? Anybody on this side like to address the council? Anybody in the room like to address the council? We'll close the Citizens Open Forum. I'll give you the mayor's minute, a couple of recaps, and then some upcoming items. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber Annual Gala. Congratulations to new chairman and board members who will serve on the 2017-2018 Upper Tampa Bay Chamber Board of Directors. Many award winners that night, including city manager Mr. Bruce Haddock, who was presented with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Also, Playful City USA. Oldsmar has been named as a 2017 Playful City USA designation by Kaboom. This is the 8th time the city has received this honor. Oldsmar is one of only 258 other communities in the United States with this recognition. Congratulations to all of our leisure services staff on their efforts for the city to earn this title. Oldsmar Cares groundbreaking, honored to attend and speak at the official groundbreaking ceremony for the new expanded Oldsmar Cares building expansion this past Friday. Also, Project Pop Drop. This has been great. Please join us in the 2nd annual Project Pop Drop going on through Friday, June 23rd. Bring non-perishable canned food and new slightly used clothing to many of the drop-off locations across Oldsmar, including City Hall and the Chamber of Commerce, along with some of your banks and restaurants, all to benefit Oldsmar Cares. Upcoming events and announcements: Oldsmar Disc Golf Course, ribbon cutting. Everyone is invited to attend the official ribbon cutting ceremony and grand opening of the Oldsmar Disc Golf Course this Saturday, June 24th at 9 a.m. at Sheffield Park. A free beginners program follows the event for Mr. Beaverland. Holiday closure. I added that. I don't know.
Evidently you did.
Holiday closure, no council meeting. Reminder that city offices, facilities, and library will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th in observance of Independence Day. Also, no council meeting will be held that evening. And get well wishes on behalf of the city of Oldsmar, sending get well vibes to Judy Black. Glad your surgery went well. We're wishing you a quick and fast recovery. So give that to Judy, if you would, from us very much.
Tell her we love her.
Yes.
Gator, tell her we love her.
And if the council doesn't mind and the audience doesn't mind, I am going to move item 8 ahead of item 1, just in the interest of time. It's a proclamation that is an honor to read. Item 8 is a proclamation honoring a special lady for her 100th birthday. And she's here tonight.
Beautiful lady.
I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Honoring a special lady on her 100th birthday. Whereas on June 25th, 1917, Dorothy Sandlin was born at her family's home in the state of Massachusetts. And whereas, Dottie moved to Oldsmar, Florida in 1980. And whereas Dottie is the last surviving founding member of Gullair Village. And whereas Dottie still resides in the same house, I saw a picture of it, in the same house she and her late husband Stan purchased. And whereas Dottie was a 1980 charter member of the Church of Resurrection in Eastlake. And whereas Dazzling Dottie was active on the shuffleboard court in Gullair Village until she was 98 years old. And whereas Dottie's family and friends will help her celebrate her 100th birthday by holding a party on June 25th, 2017 in Gullair Village Clubhouse. Now, therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim June 25th, 2017, Dazzling Dottie Sandlin Day in the City of Oldsmar in honor of her 100th birthday, and send her best wishes from the Oldsmar City Council and the residents of Oldsmar, dated this 20th day of June, 2017. Hey, it's her day.
Okay.
We don't give you any money, though.
Well, she's leaving. Oh, okay, yeah. I think I go along.
Testing.
Get out of your way.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I have enjoyed living in Oldsmar for the past 37 years, and I plan on living here for another 37. Oh, I am very grateful for this honor. Thank you for kindness. You're all invited to my party this Sunday in Gullair Village from 2 to 4 p.m. at the clubhouse there, right there in Gull Air Village, and I would be a joy to have you there. I really would like you all to come up. Come on. Yeah, it's going to be a good time, as well as I'm having a good time here. Yeah. And so you please try to come on Sunday. That's on the 25th.
Awesome. And before we get a picture, I would like to present you with our Centennial 100-year Afghan for you. We just turned 100 too. We don't look as good as you do. There you go. Designed by one of our city staff as well, so there you go. I'll stand wherever you want me. I'll stand right here with you. We should probably get the whole council in here.
We can do that, yeah.
Get the whole council?
Mayor, I've had the honor of knowing Dottie ever since she moved to the city of Oldsmar.
Awesome.
Sharon, you're always last. You coming down?
Yeah, come on, Jerry. You are part of the council. I'm not gonna do that.
You should win, I am.
We got to poke him every now and again. Hey, Ben, can we get her? Should we get her around? We're gonna spin her around.
I take you to such a twice a week.
Yeah. We're gonna turn her around. Let's take this off because she looks so pretty.
Little more.
There we go.
Just right back, last minute, the wood check twice.
Okay, right here. Oh, nice.
Get around better than he does. Thank you and congratulations. Yep, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I'm sure a lot of you people came for Dottie, so if you would like, we'll take just a second, because I know you probably don't want to stay for the rest of this meeting, although they are exciting. Okay.
There goes what makes Oldsmar the greatest city in the world.
We should sit. Ready? Dottie, I don't think it would be appropriate if we sent you out without singing happy birthday to you.
Lead it, Mary.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dottie. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
I was gonna say you should turn Dan's mic off.
I was going to say that this side was a little bit more in tune.
Was it?
Look who I'm sitting next to.
Maybe you need your hearing checked.
All right, let's get to business. I'm not crying, something flew in my eye.
Kathy's not crying, we're doing okay. Good.
Yeah, I know, but you shouldn't be doing this. You should do it in your comments.
Okay, that's fine. All right, well, happy birthday to Dottie. Next is we step into our Community Redevelopment Agency hat, and with that, I'll turn that over to our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Item number 1 under the Community Redevelopment Agency is to approve the site plan and a variance for Oldsmar Cares. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, so anyone that wants to speak tonight, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn under oath. Stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn under oath. That includes the applicant, anybody that's going to speak. You swear that the testimony you're going to give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated. Mayor, it's now time for staff to make a presentation about this particular site plan and the variance being requested. Thank you.
I'm Marie Daphne, Planning and Redevelopment Director. It's a request for a major amendment for the site plan and a variance application for Oldsmar Cares, Inc. You don't have the ability to look at that, so I'll just, okay, I'll just tell you when I'm going
With this one?
to advance, yes.
Explain to everybody that our monitors don't work, oh, they do work up there?
Yeah, that's fine. They can see him.
They just don't.
We
work
have a
down there.
handout.
All right.
I just have to turn it on. No? I don't think so.
You might have to tell Ivan to advance it. There might be too
Yeah.
much Bluetooth in the room.
Next slide, Ivan.
All part of the connected city.
This is a request to construct a 2,868 charitable office building. Included with this request is a variance request to reduce the width of the sidewalk within the State Road 580 right-of-way in Jefferson Boulevard from 10 feet to 6 feet. Next slide, okay. The property is 0.49 acres. It's located at the southwest corner of the closed State Road 580 intersection and Jefferson Avenue intersection. Next slide. It's city-owned property. Currently, there is an existing 1,250 square foot building. There are 5 parking spaces, and there's a cross-access to the property to the west. The eastern portion of the property is vacant. Next slide. Office uses are permitted by the TCCN district. The floor area ratio is 1, and the impervious surface ratio is 0.80. Next slide. This shows the property to the west. Next slide. The alley to the south. Next slide. The property to the east. Next slide. The applicant is, or the property development will include relocating the existing access to the east, and there's a new 24-foot wide driveway access. There'll also be a new access off of Jefferson, and the cross-access to the west will remain. Next slide. As I said, there's 5 existing parking spaces, and the applicant is going to construct 11 new parking spaces. Next slide. The variance request to reduce the required 10-foot wide sidewalk from 10 feet to 6 feet, and that's along State Road 580 and also along Jefferson. Currently along Jefferson, the sidewalk width is 4.5 feet, and he's going to increase it to 6 feet. Staff is supporting the request to keep the 6-foot wide sidewalk along State Road 580. There really isn't any sidewalk that it could connect to. Previously, the council approved a variance in sidewalk width to reduce it to 6 feet for a restaurant that has not been built yet. So it just makes more sense just to continue with the 6-foot wide at this time. Next slide. The setbacks are 5 feet from State Road 580 and 10 feet from Jefferson. Next slide. That is rendering. It meets the Oldsmar Town Center Commercial Neighborhood District requirements with regards to color and architecture. Next slide. The applicant will provide landscaping along the perimeter of the development. There'll be live oaks, wax myrtle, sable palms, and ligustrum hedges. So staff is recommending approval of the major site plan and the variance applications. And at this time, I'd like to enter the staff report into the record, and if there's any questions.
I know it's not part of the variance. I just have a quick question. I think I know the answer. The 2 existing drives to the existing building will come out?
Yes, the existing access will, be removed, and then he's going to construct a new 24-foot wide.
Isn't that currently where the new drive, isn't that currently where the existing building is?
No, it's, no, it's on the property next. You can see on the second to last slide, you can see the existing building and the driveways to the right of it a little bit on the second to last slide.
Ivan, can you advance it forward?
You see it? The building and the parking lot, and then the 2 little
going.
horseshoe drive,
It's on the access
Okay.
page.
or on the access page, yeah.
Drive is still off of 580.
Right.
Shifted over to
The
the
access
east.
page, you can see you got,
I don't know whether this is your time to talk about this part of it.
No,
No, okay.
staff.
Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Okay, thank you.
okay, now it's time for the applicant to make a presentation. Is anyone here from Oldsmar cares to make a presentation?
I'm here, but I didn't prepare anything.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, proponents, those in favor of this application?
Anybody in favor of the application that would like to speak? Any of those opposed to this that would like to speak? I know there are some. In an orderly fashion, talk amongst yourself, whoever would like to be first.
Okay. Just a reminder, as you come up, if you could state your full name, your address, and if you could tell us if you're anywhere in location of where the property is, that would be helpful to the council.
Good evening. My name is Randy Hoople. I live 205 Jefferson Avenue, which is directly across from the property. I really have a problem with this. This is just kind of blown up in our face. We heard rumors and this and that. Oh, they're building this building. I do have to say that we've kind of entertained this for however long they've been there. I do want to say they have really not been the best of neighbors. Parking up and down Jefferson Street, especially around the holidays. There's been times that we were not able to get out of our driveway. It was around Thanksgiving 2 years ago that we had packed up. We were going to head out to my mom's house, and a woman had pulled up and blocked our exit to Jefferson Street. I got out of the car. I asked her, "You're blocking my way, please move." She refused to move her vehicle to let me out of the driveway. Got into a little bit of a verbal altercation with her before she finally decided to move her vehicle. This little soiree that we had Friday afternoon, neither myself or my wife were able to even get on the street when we came home from work because of all the cars parked there. They have not really been good neighbors. We've seen people cleaning up the property over there. They'll trim the trees and drag the tree trimmings over and stuff it off in the easement there. Some of the clientele, I had an incident at one point where a gentleman came up on a bicycle, got his food and stuff. Then he went through his bags and started throwing the trash all over the lot there. I confronted him. I said, "What are you doing? You know, they're doing you a service and you're here throwing trash." Oh, yeah, you're right. He picked up his trash and moved along his way. My other concern is this is going to be under construction for how long? Till the end of the year approximately?
I don't have the time frame. Brenda may have. She can probably address that. I know they're breaking ground in about 2 weeks, so.
So my front yard's going to be a construction site for the next 6 months. I'm concerned about access in and out and cars parked. Where are all the construction workers? Where's all the material? Concrete block, rafters, all this material, where's that going to be stored? I kind of get the feeling it's going to be in my front yard.
Well, I don't think it will be in your front yard.
Yeah.
That's private property.
Yeah, I just don't think that the land supports the purpose that they want to do. There's just never been enough parking there. It's been an ongoing problem, and Friday, I think, just really showed what it's going to turn into.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, and you know, we've been in that house for 32 years. When we first moved to Oldsmar, there was no State Road 580. All the streets were dirt roads. Oldsmar has increased and improved immensely. We love Oldsmar. We love our house. We've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on our home to improve it. New windows, new driveway, air conditioning, you name it. We keep our landscaping up. And frankly, a facility like that is going to do nothing but devalue our property. Typically, that type of facility lowers property values at least 12%. We're at the point now we feel like we have no other option to move out of Oldsmar.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Evening. William Murphy, better known as Bip. First of all, I'd like to say it's a pleasure
Address, please, for the record.
102 Dartmouth Avenue West.
Thank you.
Used to be 260. Jerry, it's an honor to speak in front of you. First of all, the mayor.
Thank you, sir.
What you've done and that. But I agree with my neighbor. He's a friend, and whatever, I've lived here since 1976, same address, whatever. And I am for the poor, the homeless, the indigent, and the veteran being like myself. But I think this particular area might not be the appropriate area. Oldsmar Care does a lot of things. I went up there and volunteered. It's almost like the Shriners. You know, you got somebody volunteer, and if you don't have the right etiquette or the right money or whatever. But my point being is that it's a safe issue and whatever. I'm all for it. Gosh, I'm for the poor. My mother fought, and the homeless and the veterans and whatever. But I don't know if that's the good location to be put in. And I know all good thoughts with the council and everything, but I think there might be maybe a little more thinking that should be put into this. And there's other places, and I just thank you for listening to me, and Jerry, you're a great guy.
Bless you, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Councilman. My name is Gina Vogel. I live at 140 Dartmouth Avenue West. I've been a resident of Oldsmar since 2009. I live within 500 feet of Oldsmar Cares. I donate every year to Oldsmar Cares. I love what Oldsmar Cares does currently. However, there are major issues with what's being proposed and their expansion. Not only is the issue with their expansion as to what their services will provide, but they have issues with their requested variances as well as the access that they're asking the councilman to approve. First, if you look at the expanded purpose, what they do right now is they provide financial assistance and goods to those who are in need within the community, which is wonderful. But this expanded building, as we've seen, is rumored to include cots, include showers. We're gonna have homeless right within our community. And when they're kicked out at 9 a.m. because they can't remain in the facility, they're going to be walking in our neighborhoods, needing extra security, schools within walking distance, let alone probably on my property as well. And I work all day. I cannot manage who is on my property. And I have just spent a small fortune just upgrading my property. So that is extremely concerning. And many residents are upgrading their residence as well. And to have these homeless roaming around unsupervised, let alone the riffraff that comes with them most of the time, is very concerning. You just announced Oldsmar hit its 8th year of being awarded the City of It's Great to Play. Well, good luck hitting our 9th year with this expansion. Now, if you look at their requested extension for the variance on the sidewalk, I believe it's going from 10 feet to 6. Yes, councilman may have approved for a restaurant, who knows how long ago, since our development has been kind of hindered with the community, but decreasing from 10 feet to 6 feet, we do not have access from all our 15 historical parks throughout Oldsmar. You have many community members, many children riding their bikes and depending on that sidewalk along such a busy road, 580. Not less than a year and a half ago, someone was killed right at 580 and Bayview. So now we're decreasing the sidewalks, but yet we're going to increase most likely the foot traffic that this type of facility is going to bring. So I especially urge the councilmen to deny the variance. Now, if you look at the access that they're asking and they're proposing off of Jefferson, which is a dead end, you're now increasing the foot traffic as well as vehicle traffic in our neighborhoods. So we're going to have issues with speeding. We don't have enough signs of children playing, please be slow. We don't have any type of speed bumps or anything to protect our community. So I ask your councilman to deny this variance and to not approve this site plan because their expansion for purpose is not where it should be in this community. Their variance request on their sidewalk is not appropriate for such a busy and dangerous road, and their access is going to create excessive traffic within our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, can we not get something straight here before we go on with this?
No, that we need
This
to.
is not dialogue time yet.
This is the
Well, I think
presentation.
that's wrong because everybody's talking about something that
Okay, we'll address that.
that ain't gonna happen, and I think it's.
Yeah, make some notes and let's hear it out, and then we'll have a chance to
Well, you
discuss
got
it.
it.
Thank you.
Dave Tootle. I live at 202 Jefferson Avenue. I'm directly adjacent to the property that this building is going to be built on. And I have issues with the people. Apparently, it must be the officers or the employees at this place that are speeding down our road. And I suggest putting speed humps in the road to slow the traffic down if you're in fact going to go through with this. Okay, they keep driving across it, and in the past couple of years, they've repaired the water main 10 times probably. It would just happen the other day. I think it was the day of your Friday thing. And as soon as they fixed it, a half hour later, a city truck came through, moved the barriers, and drove right back across it. And it runs right down into my grass. It's city property, but it's my grass. I have to take care of it. And I'm put the money and the effort to maintain the grass. And it's ruining it. The tree line debris that runs east and west on the south side of that property where they're building this building. Whoever's mowing that property is throwing all the debris into that tree line. Okay? I keep my side of it clean, okay? But they just keep throwing limbs and debris and stuff in there. There's 2 dead trees that are ready to fall over onto a brand new $6,000 building that I put up. The city wouldn't let me put a 2020 building in there without a permit they suggested that I get the $1,000 federal grant, but if they're not going to give me a permit, what's the grant going to do me? The entranceway. If they're going to put an entranceway in there, they keep breaking this water main. Obviously, the pipes are bad. Shouldn't they not replace the pipes first instead of putting the entranceway in and then ripping it right back up to put new pipes in? Because I understand and new pipes are in effect. They started they're on Park Street now, I understand. And they're putting a pond in there, a retention pond, which is gonna be a mosquito haven. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay. I think we've all been making some notes, so we'll try and address some of those things when we get to that point. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Landry. I live at 211 Jefferson. I'm a couple doors down from Randy. The only issue I have is that opening they want to make on Jefferson is going to be dangerous. We have people that fly through stop signs. I have contacted the sheriff's department. They have done what they could, but it's still going on. It's just going to increase it. I've seen people almost get hit. I've seen animals almost get hit. People don't care. They do not care about that neighborhood. It's going to get worse. The only ones that care are the ones that live on these streets. I just don't want to see any more happen. I've been there since I was 7 years old. I am 38 now. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. Dave's right. We constantly have pipe problems. They constantly drive over it. The owners, or I'm not the owners, I don't know if it's the owners, whoever works at the Oldsmar Cares have been driving over that property, have been racing through the streets going too fast, not stopping at the stop signs. I just want to see maybe the location moves further away from this, the Oldsmar area, like not in like our residential area, more in the commercial. Right now, I just think it's too close to our houses. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janice Schultz. I live at 209 Jefferson Avenue. Again, those are many of my neighbors that were speaking. And I'm originally from Chicago. I've been in Oldsmar over 20 years. And coming from Chicago, this is a dream. We've raised our 2 boys here. The school system, terrific. We were in Safety Harbor to begin with, but then when we started looking for our own home, we decided, let's check out, over the bridge, and we fell in love with it. And I know this speaks to you, Councilman Beverland. We're all about preserving old Oldsmar. This neighborhood where this proposal is, it's a nice, quiet, family neighborhood. The proposal will change it from a cherished old Oldsmar area to a commercial-like area with the lodging and the pantry being expanded. So I think that would take away from the neighborhood and also to agree with many of the things that have been said tonight.
Thank you. Next.
Avenue. I only have one question. Is this going to be a homeless shelter?
We'll address that when we have the opportunity.
Okay.
We'll note it down.
That's my only concern.
Thank you. I know that's the concern of many. Okay. Anybody else against it? Did I just see a hand? We'll make sure we give everybody a chance.
So I'm Jamie Hoople at 205 Jefferson. Randy is my husband. He was the first one who spoke. A couple of more observations I would like to make is right now it's an empty lot. People are going through that empty lot, going over the sidewalk, busting up the sidewalk. The sidewalks are all busted out. There's a hollered buggy down the street. And what's going to happen when you have that entranceway on Jefferson? People are going to tear out of there and come out. Another thing is, we're across the catty-corner to the new location. I work in my yard every night because that's what I like to do. Am I going to have to really pay attention on what's going on in that building? Over there, people loitering outside watching me? I don't find that very acceptable at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else against before Brenda? Yeah, just let me make you know, you're fine. Anybody else like to speak against it? We got one more, Brenda, if you just hold on.
Hi, Amy Pekulski, 301 Jefferson Avenue. I wanted to bring up, no one had mentioned that the school is really close, and there's also 2 bus stops that are within a street's distance of Oldsmar Cares. Not that there's necessarily going to be bad people there, but it's just something that I had thought of. The other thing was, I don't know if it's a possibility, but if they could make the opening without being on Jefferson, I live at the corner of Jefferson, so they would be driving by my house every time someone went there or drove through. I liked living on a dead end. I'd like to keep it that way if I could. I've lived there for 18 years. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, yep, Brenda?
Brenda Gollin, 2030 Montego, Oldsmar. I'm the vice chair of Oldsmar Cares, and
Tom, is this for those that are against it or for it?
She's actually for. I just talked to Tom. It's okay. We're all right.
Okay.
Well, I guess keep it.
Well, we wanted to hear the things so she could address some of the concerns.
Yeah, that was really what I was. And I appreciate everybody that's come here to talk about Oldsmar Cares and our expansion. I've been with the organization for 6 years. I've been in Oldsmar for 14. I'm very proud of the work that we do, and just to sort of take the biggest item, I think, off the table is that this is not a homeless shelter. There are no cots. There was no plan, so we're not really sure where that all came from and, what that, how it got derailed into that direction. It does seem like there are some concerns, though, and a few of them that I wrote down, I think are going to be solved with the new facility. Parking, for example, is a big one. The fact that, it's hard to hear that you're not a good neighbor. So, I think that we need to do a better job of managing our property, and just like any other neighbor. So I don't really look at that as outside of any other kind of neighborhood that, you would live in, that, I've got neighbors that I'd like to make adjustments with. So I think that that's pretty normal neighborly kinds of stuff. Construction is going to be difficult to live through, but I know that on the other side of it, we're going to have this really amazing facility that actually helps our city from having a lot of homeless people. The people that we help are able to facilitate, we're able to help facilitate their needs and their basic needs, and so that they can direct money to areas that they really have problems with. One of our clients in particular that we talked about at our grand opening on Friday, their children had some cancer treatment that they were undergoing, and without our help, I don't really know how they would have been able to get some of their basic needs sustained. And that's just one story. That's out of 5,000 people that we help a year. An extreme example, but we help everybody from a couple of cans of soup to, $1,000 to help their child with some cancer treatment. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular that I heard today that, again, I just want to reiterate about the homeless shelter. We're not a homeless shelter. We've never been a homeless shelter. We've been at this location, I believe, for 5 years.
We were discussing it today, it's 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I think that everybody's property values have gone up. You know, I mean, I know that there's definitely an increase, and we were there for that. So it's not like I believe that there's been any negativity. I think that there's really a lot of positive things that are happening today that will be resolved with this new building and our ability to do a better job of being more neighborly, I guess.
And I think you heard that, and this is the applicant, so the council is allowed to ask questions of her, and then we can have dialogue ourselves afterward, but if council has specific questions of
Brenda,
of the applicant.
Could you please address the shower issue that the one woman brought up about the shower?
Yeah, so, you know, when you put a bathroom in, there's certain things that you can make decisions about what you're going to do. And, you know, there's a lot of times that we're volunteering and then we have to come to something like this. And so, you know, in evaluating a new bathroom in this beautiful facility that we have, a shower was just something that we thought made sense as, you know, in planning this new facility. So it has nothing to do with, you know, shower, and also, you know, you get the benefit of a larger area of cleaning, and I don't think that we have a plan for a mop sink. So I mean, that would have that kind of function too. So it's not again, there isn't a homeless support system that's going to be run out of this facility, and you know, there never has been.
So I got a lot to say, but I'm going to wait until the council has.
We can ask her, you mean, when we have discussion, do you have specific questions?
We're the ones that's
right,
going
I understand. Do you have
I have a couple specific questions. So one is maybe just to address this for everyone in the room. What percentage of Oldsmar residents, like, do you serve? Out of all the people that you serve, the 5,000, how many actually are people that live here in the city that are their neighbors and friends?
80% or more. I mean, the majority of the folks that we're helping are in the 34677 zip code. We only have a total of 5 zip codes that we support, so it's about 80%.
The second, which I think is the biggest concern for everyone, and it's a question for myself, I mean, I can understand access, but what's the main purpose and the need for the access on Jefferson? I also live in the downtown area here at the end of Exeter, and I can imagine I probably wouldn't want additional traffic flow either. It's a very neighborly suburbia street, and we do have issues with people speeding and not paying attention to stop signs. So I can imagine too that I wouldn't want additional traffic going down there. There's a lot of kids. So what's the main reason for that?
I can't unfortunately answer that, but I have people that could.
Yeah. I get it. Like, you have, you know, access. It's other ways
I don't want
for
to
people to get in
speculate,
and out,
but I think that's, you know, the majority. Everybody knows it's driven on 580 what it's like. I speculate that is the situation. Yeah, but I don't know specifically. Like,
I also think that it will, maybe this, I don't know if I can ask, it's not necessarily a question, but when you're pulling in right now, obviously the parking is limited. It's kind of a hill. I can imagine it's hard to get in and out on 580, but if you have a brand new parking lot, you might have the ability to turn around a little bit easier and not need a separate access. The only thing I was thinking though is when the resident brought up the concerns about all the cars around like Thanksgiving and Christmas would potentially be the truck access that brings and takes, you know,
No, I was gonna ask staff shortly.
Okay.
If opening up that area, if that wouldn't somehow leave traffic. The question I have, is it also the intent to open up Jefferson out to 580?
Well, I was getting into that, and I'm saying, no.
Yeah, I don't think that's a question for her.
You're
but
showing restraint, which is amazing.
I just didn't know if you might know what the main reason for that access request was.
I just don't, yeah.
And I have been there for, you know, the Thanksgivings, and it's a lot of traffic, but, you know, it's at that time of year. And unfortunately, as I mentioned at the groundbreaking, you know, we're never going to eliminate people that are in need, you know, and as I mentioned at the ceremony, you know, it's not that they're looking for a handout, but a hand up. And, you know, the sheriff's department is out there, and we're really trying to regulate the traffic in a controlled environment. So any other questions of the applicant? Again?
No? Thank you, Brandon.
Dan?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, so now that that's been completed, I don't know, Marie, if you wanted to step up, I think there's some questions for you. First of all, do you have any response? And if not, I guess we just ask questions.
I just wanted to stress it is TCC and Town Center Commercial Neighborhood, and office use is a permitted use. So if Oldsmar Cares did not locate there, another development, potentially an office would be able to be constructed there. So it's, zoned appropriately. With regard to the access off of Jefferson, I think that helps with circulation. So if you're at Oldsmar Cares, and even though they widen the driveway, they'd still have to come back out onto 580. As many people have said, it's a very busy street. So you have the secondary access, you're able to, go off Jefferson. Not that everybody would, but, it's another alternative.
And I guess just to follow that up, and to your comment about this town center commercial, if something else were to go in there, they potentially would have an entrance off of Jefferson as well.
We would probably, support that. They also could have a mixed use, so it could be residential, retail, office. So that would be permitted there.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Any
address
questions of staff? Go ahead.
No, I got some answers that she was not asking the question.
Their intent to open up those side roads onto 580?
Probably a DOT question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really, there's no.
We couldn't do that.
Okay.
Wouldn't be allowed.
I didn't even think we could do anything with the sidewalk. That's not our sidewalk, that's DOT sidewalk.
Well, if the variance is approved, nothing would be done with the DOT sidewalk. It's currently 6 feet wide, and that's part of their request is to leave it at 6 feet.
Yeah. The town center code requires 10 foot wide.
I know
that was the reason for that.
But we have to be careful what we do with that sidewalk.
Yes.
That is DOT right away.
Right.
Questions of staff?
Nope.
Mine was just for the access. So.
Questions of staff?
Thank you.
Actually, well, Marie, I don't know, what the concern about the water pipes?
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
I
that.
can address that. I think
I was going to say, that's
you're aware that
that's a
we have
council decision.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to get filled in on.
That's part of the downtown water main replacement program. And I think it was just the last meeting, y'all approved putting that out to bid. We expect to receive the bids in August. So there'll be a major water main replacement project in what I refer to as the older part of town. Y'all are familiar with it. It goes as far west as Park Place, I think, and then all the way towards Lafayette. So it does include Jefferson, and then there's part of that project is extending a small part of reclaimed as well.
But will that be a factor in this also being built out with the water main replacement, like they brought up?
And I don't really see that an issue, other than I think one of the persons who spoke mentioned that there had been frequent water main repairs on that street. So we would anticipate with the new water main, that would be eliminated or major reduction in repairs.
And just for procedural question, if there are any other questions of staff or the applicant, or I guess of the city manager, before we get into dialogue amongst ourselves, I would ask that we have a motion and a second only for the purposes of discussion. It has no relevance to the votes that are going to be given.
Second.
Motion and a second for discussion.
Okay, I want to make sure that I understand clearly that the motion is for the approval of the site plan and approval for the variance together. Is that?
Does anybody wish to
Actually, I would-
break it apart?
May I change my motion?
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to approve everything except for the second location access onto Jefferson.
Second.
For discussion? Okay. Discussion?
Yep, so discussion is, I don't have any issues with any of this except for the access. I agree, it doesn't seem like it's necessary for it to be successful. I think the current site is an eyesore. I think the new parking, the new building will certainly improve the aesthetics of the area, the home values. There's no new additional services. It's not going to be a homeless shelter. So I think it's really just improving the current conditions that have been there for the last 6 years. So from my perspective, living not far from there, I think it's a positive for us. But I agree with, limiting some of the traffic in and out of the neighborhood where there's kids. These are our neighbors, our friends, people that need help, not necessarily homeless. And we've all been there. So I think it's a great thing for our community to give back. And I think we do just need to be conscientious of our neighbors who have been living there for a long time and been paying taxes and and want to keep their street quiet and limit the traffic with their children. So that's why I propose that amendment.
Do we have an alternative for that discussion?
Did you, what, say that again?
Do we have an alternative for that?
do we have
During
an
that?
Well, I don't think we can give you
In other
one.
words.
Okay,
Pardon me?
go ahead.
My recommendation would be to leave the Jefferson driveway in there. I think it's important to traffic circulation. I think you have an issue of public safety with people entering and exiting the site. I think as an alternative, you could require that Jefferson be an exit only. In other words, not an entrance. And part of the traffic circulation would then be you can enter on 580 and exit on Jefferson. Now, you can still exit 580, but you have the option. And there are a few occasions during the course of a year where they are actually moving a number of cars through there, like at a holiday or something, and having the secondary exit on Jefferson would be very beneficial to those events. So I would offer that as an option. You would still have the driveway on Jefferson, but it would be an exit
Do you
only.
think there's value in trying to reduce or eliminate where the neighbors have had issues of people parking in the street, that by having that entrance on Jefferson, they then have the ability to actually pull in and not park on the street?
Could be. I was just putting out an alternative.
Well, to me, that's not the biggest problem with that Jefferson. If it was an exit only, and no parking on Jefferson, no parking at all on Jefferson, and a speed bump if you need it. Now, I can live with that. But if you don't have no parking on Jefferson and then the speed bump and only the exit.
Well, how do you regulate the no parking? Because residents might have guests visiting or.
You got to give up something to get something.
A few other points. My main point would be to leave the Jefferson driveway. If it could be changed later, as long as it's there. You could restrict the access to one-way later. Other things that might be addressed down the road would include parking or no parking on one side of Jefferson, maybe, as an example. I don't think you need to incorporate that into the site plan tonight. After this facility, assuming that it is built and it operates for a period of time, there might be some other things that need to be looked at, such as parking and making the driveway one way or some other
If you had
options.
Jefferson with just an exit, that would handle a lot of the problem. And the other problem would be handled by no parking on one side, and if they wanted the speed bump, put it in there. Now, this is what I was asking, is there another part of this where we can make that motion now, or what?
What?
Well, I already have a motion on the floor.
The motion and the second's already on the table for,
That's for the site plan.
we're considering them both together. There's a site plan and the variance. The
I
variance is for the
understand
6-foot
But-
sidewalk on
Okay.
Jefferson.
Let's say we.
And you're fine with that as part of the,
Let's say we turn the
correct?
site
Yeah,
plan.
I'm fine with the sidewalk.
What if you turn the site plan down? Let's say you don't turn it down. That doesn't solve any problems. So can we put it in there about only an exit?
Well, the
Motion
motion
on
in
the
a
floor.
second without it being on there. So
Right.
it would have to fail in its current format and then be
We're
remotioned.
continuing to discuss though
Right,
currently,
correct.
right?
Yeah,
So
we're
do
still
you have,
discussing that.
what are your thoughts on the exit only? For me, it's still traffic to
Well,
the neighborhood.
my concern, the more you sit here and think about it from a practical standpoint, you're still going to have cars that are going to come to the new building using Jefferson, and they're going to park in the street, right? My thought is, while it might seem detrimental.
Are you saying if the drive wasn't there, that they would potentially park on Jefferson?
Saying no
If it's
matter
one
what.
way,
Oh.
if it's one way and there's no parking, no entrance, I would think, just from a practical standpoint,
Oh, I see what you're
they're
saying.
more likely to park
there.
out on Jefferson.
Yeah.
As where if they pulled up and there was a way to pull into the facility.
And get off of Jefferson.
And get off of Jefferson because they have more parking now, it might actually help the problem. I'm
there's a gentleman out there.
We're done with discussion.
Yeah,
So,
no,
I mean, when you
it
think
makes
about
sense.
that, I mean, it kind of, because what happens now, someone's going to pull down there. It's going to be, if we go with.
And then they're not going to turn around and go around to 580, they're going to park there anyways.
Going to park, that's what they do now.
Yeah.
And
what-
so,
And what about no parking on that particular side of the street?
well, I think we
And maybe
should,
that's something we address.
I think we can do that separately. I don't think it's part of this, but I do think that's something we should do if it continues to be a nuisance.
If we,
You know.
if we turn this down, or if we accept it, then I want it immediately about the no parking.
Okay. And I think I look at this similarly to where I live with Bay Arbor, and that, we processed, I don't even think I was on council, but the site plan was processed, and then the parking was a concern, so it was addressed at that time. Does that sound familiar, probably?
Well, see,
Parking on Bay Arbor.
If we don't do it now, then they get the idea, well, we're not gonna do anything. And we need to let people know that we're gonna do something, whether we turn it down or whether we don't turn it down. That's what I said, is there something else we can do during this process to let them know that we're gonna do something?
Normally, we send that through the TRC and have them give, their review.
Okay.
So that's what my suggestion.
If Tom could address, if you could publicly, I was saying that if the current motion fails and a second one is made, addressing the no parking signs, but the real process would be for something like that would be what?
The review committee.
Well, they would normally go to the TRC for consideration, and they would come, move that through the process after they've reviewed it. But that's not part of this site
Right.
plan. It's not part of this application. It should not be considered right now. And after it goes through TRC, if that's what the city manager's direction is, after hearing from you, then it could come back and be on your agenda if necessary.
And I guess we could approve or disapprove it with the caveat that it goes before TRC to review that.
You don't need to address
Not
that.
necessary.
Okay.
I think Mr. Trask is, to sum up what I heard him say was parking's not part of this site
Right,
plan
correct.
application.
Correct. I agree.
On Jefferson.
Correct.
Parking on the site.
Yes, that's what I meant.
I will say I know that this is zoned for office or mixed use. It doesn't necessarily mean you need any access to a residential street. You know what I mean? Like, think about it if it were a dentist office or any other type of office, would we necessarily be so inclined to say, yeah, let's give them extra access to go through the neighborhood? I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, they're getting additional parking, they're getting a better entrance on 580. Couldn't that additional access be added at a separate time? Is that always a possibility if we determine, hey, we're having a lot of cars, they're having trouble getting in and out? Couldn't that be something that was added at a later date? I just want to throw that idea.
In my opinion, I think from a safety and circulation standpoint, to not have to pull out onto 580, there's definitely a safety value there with trying to pull out onto there.
But because you don't live
They're going to pull out on 580 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would use Jefferson because I live down this way. So as a resident down here, it's easier for me. However, for someone like you, Doug, wouldn't you just pull right back out?
I would. Yeah.
I'm thinking majority of people will probably pull back out on 580, and at least there's a light close to there, so you have, the opportunity that
I hear
it'll
you.
turn red, you can pull out. Currently, it's dangerous the way it is in and out in the hill, and
Here's the thing, Gabby. The facility is going to be bigger. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have more staff working there, okay? It just means they're not going to be piling stuff in every nook and cranny, I mean, if you walk in.
And I think that's a very, very valid point. I think the bigger facility is more about being able to accommodate. We're doing that Project Pop Drop, and I can tell you, we are getting ready to drop them with a load of clothing and food for their shelter. And it's really more about storage and not have, it's being set up like a house right now.
I'm not aware of them running out of stuff now, meaning I don't know that drives demand. I think the economy drives demand a lot, okay?
Right.
And so their ability to store more, I don't think necessarily results in more people going there.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I'm still unconvinced that
there was an access they would pull in.
if there was an access, they would pull in. I mean, think about it. You pull up, even when we went over the other day, and I'm one of the guilty ones, right? When we went there for that groundbreaking, I was on the other side, though, but I pulled into that office building over there. Had there been an entrance, I'd have gone and looked for a place to.
Right, and that was not a normal situation
Right,
there
I mean,
with the
that was
groundbreaking.
extreme, but I could see that point,
Yeah,
so I don't
makes
believe
sense.
that I'd support your proposal.
Any
your
thoughts?
motion.
The way they have the site plan designed, I think what David was thinking was, as you know, when we do the Thanksgiving and the holiday food drive, the cars coming in and being able to get out so they can load the cars. And I think that's what the thinking is here.
But if they pull in from where? If they pull in,
They usually pull in from 580, and I
Pull in
think
from
what they're gonna do
580.
is,
Turn a line.
and then exit them out.
Yeah.
oh, see, I don't think that's,
I think that's the thinking they were thinking of when they designed this.
I don't think Jefferson should not be a roadway in and out. One way's fine.
But you know,
Well, and out would still facilitate the operation at Thanksgiving, which is when they have the big demand is to,
Which
you
is
know.
the concern of residents. You're
Yeah,
bringing
and
a
there's
lot of
poli-
cars in.
there's police,
onto us.
yeah.
I know. But I do like Eric's point. It is true. If I pulled into a place that had a dead end, I'd probably be inclined to park
And walk.
in the grass and walk, because I'm not going to drive around if I'm right there and I'm just dropping something off. However, if there was an entrance, if it wasn't packed full of cars, I would pull in and I would park. That would be logical.
I guess, can I ask this question? I think, Bruce, you alluded to this, is that in its current form, it could be an in and an out, correct?
Yes.
And then the thought is, if it becomes an issue, just to make it an out only? Is that what you're?
That was, you're correct. That would be you summed it up correctly.
Okay.
but you know, on the drawings,
It looks like it's out only.
it looks like it's
right now.
only.
But
Yeah,
I think it,
So it has the ability to,
to be both, is that correct?
It does.
okay. All right, so that's what we're doing.
So what are we voting on then?
Well, the
Let's get it
motion,
going.
My motion was to vote on it as it stands, but to remove the access to Jefferson. So we should probably vote on that, and if it fails, then we can make a new motion.
Well, let's go ahead and vote on it, or we'll just talk ourselves to death
Hold on,
like
2 seconds.
Like Gary said.
Drive will be added to the east end of the property entering Jefferson right of way. It's an exit only.
can you read that into the record?
I was just telling the mayor that in the staffing that has been provided to you, under the paragraph titled Access, the third sentence says, "An exit-only driveway will be added to the east end of the property entering Jefferson Avenue right-of-way." So right now, the staffing is showing that it's only an exit.
So for your point, Eric, which I was not opposed to, was someone would pull in instead of parking, but if it's an exit only, they can't pull in. So for me, I would be opposed to that because I don't think we need to increase the traffic through our neighborhoods. We've been doing it without it, and it's issues around holidays and things, but those are peak times. It's not every day. I think, we shouldn't be encouraging more and more cars through the neighborhood down here.
Okay.
Jefferson, the people on Jefferson should not have to endure more traffic than they have now, in my opinion.
So the motion on the table is to grant the 6-foot variance on Jefferson and amend the site plan to no driveway at all on Jefferson. That's the current motion. Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, but I just would word it a little bit different.
Okay.
It's approval of the site plan contingent upon removal of
Okay.
the exit onto Jefferson, as well as the approval of the 6-foot, or the variance that's being requested.
That's why you're there. So we have a motion and a second.
Now, Tom, read that one more time so we get it straight.
It's the approval of the site plan contingent upon removal of the driveway access on Jefferson, but it also includes the approval of the variance that the applicant is currently requesting regarding the sidewalks.
Now, why would the sidewalk pertain? Because they're not going to be adding an access, they're not going to improve the sidewalk. I would assume people still need to be able to walk.
Well, the variance is to go from a 10, which is in the town center code, to a 6.
But right now it's a 4.5, was my understanding. So they would be increasing it to 6. So why would we not approve them increasing it to 6?
That's because the town, we're not approving them to increase it, we're approving them to decrease it from 10, which is the code.
It's going to wind up 6.
Okay, I just
We're
want to
coming,
make
the
sure.
variance is to not,
We're not like shooting ourselves in the foot.
No, no,
here,
no.
but then now they're not going to create.
they
increase
were,
it to 6.
they were being asked to put in a 10, and the variance is to put in a 6.
All right. And I'm fine with the
Is that
way
correct?
Tom worded that.
Okay, okay.
You want to
Any
vote?
thoughts before we call for roll?
So we are gonna remove, the motion is to remove that entrance, do away with it.
Yep.
That's the motion if it passes. If it doesn't pass, then another motion can be made.
I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, ready? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Seidel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Saraki,
Yes.
Councilmember Mickey,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaverland,
Absolutely.
Mayor Beavis,
No.
the major amendment is approved with 4 votes for and 1 against. Mayor Beavis dissenting, and is contingent upon the removal of the driveway to Jefferson, and the variance is also approved.
All right, thank you.
That's it.
So now we're going out of the CRA back.
We're back, we're stepping out of the CRA if you guys are more than welcome to
But wait a
stay.
minute, we're still on this, aren't we?
No? We're done.
Part of it.
Yeah, we did.
We did the whole thing.
Okay, that's the whole thing. Well, let me tell you,
You want to?
I have vowed never to tell another history lesson in this damn place, and I will not, but I am gonna tell you.
This could be interesting, you might want to hang around.
About this piece of property. I'm the one that stopped this from, I'm the one that actually got this piece of property for the city of Oldsmar, and I did it for a number of reasons, because I wanted the city to own it. But I know who Tico was going to sell it to, when I persuaded him to give it to the city. And I will tell you right now, the people that live on Jefferson, you didn't want what they were gonna build there, okay? So you're actually lucky that we're doing this and not giving it some, because they could have built whatever they wanted there. You could have had a gas station there, you could have had a whatever. So thanks to the city manager, he agreed with me, and so be happy you got Oldsmar Cares there. Well, that's up to the mayor, not me.
All right, thank you. We'll give you a couple seconds if anybody else wants to step out. Thank you for your input. And I think Oldsmar Cares heard about being a better neighbor, so they'll definitely work on that. Moving on, we are stepping out of the Community Redevelopment Agency and stepping back into the City Council with our consent docket. We have a couple items. Approve the minutes of the April 4th, 2017 City Council meeting. Next, approve the payment to legal counsel. Next item, award bid B 17-07 for Lafayette Boulevard median opening. Next, authorize the city manager to advertise requests for qualifications, RFQ 2017-04 for design services for the Oldsmar Sports Complex Phase 1A. And the final item is approve the tentative agenda for the July 18th, 2017 meeting. If nobody wishes to pull anything, I need a motion.
Pull 3.
Pull item 3? Item 3 or number 3?
Number 3.
Payment to legal?
Improvement to legal counsel.
Payment to legal counsel, okay. Pulling item 3, if no other wants to be pulled, I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion and a second for consent docket items 2, 4, 5, and 6. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Councilmember Beaverland, you pulled item number 3.
Pasco going to end in 2028 or 2043 or?
This is a new case that has been filed.
This is a new case?
Right, and let me just explain it. The Pasco property is in foreclosure.
It's
The
in
bank is-
foreclosure? Does that mean we get it?
No, the bank is foreclosing, and the city was included as an additional defendant because the city has a judgment for attorney's fees and costs against the Pasco of a couple $100,000.
Right, a big one.
Yeah, so we're defending that on behalf of the city, but it's a mortgage foreclosure action, and it was filed within the last month or two.
I have all the confidence in the world what you'll get us.
Well, I'm not so sure that we're going to prevail on this one because of the fact that the judgment is inferior to the mortgage because it was recorded after the mortgage. But we're keeping an eye on it. There are some underlying liens that we will be able to recover, but not the big one. But anyhow, it's a new case.
Okay, but is there a possibility we could negotiate with somebody and
I'm already talking to the attorney about that.
and possibly we can buy the land?
Well, once the bank takes ownership of the property, obviously that could be.
I would think that we could deal something with the bank, because I personally think we want the property.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom, that's it.
You're welcome.
Tom's been working on this forever. Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve item number 3.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the City of Oldsmar, and that the first item is the presentation of the Council Manager Award, and that is Vice Mayor Saraki.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm glad that's over. Tonight, I am honored to give Gina Roger Price the award. And Gina, would you please come up here? Gina is a full-time executive assistant at AZZ SMS LLC, where she has worked since January 2008. Gina, would you explain what you do there at AZZ SMS?
Well, I assist the executives. I do all of our expense reporting. I do all of our promotional product ordering. I'm our events coordinator. I do contractors licensing, pre-qualifications, bid submittals, a little bit of everything. I order all of our office supplies, and the list goes on and on. Just
That's what do you sell?
we don't sell. We do industrial boiler maintenance and repair.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining that. Gina is married to Jason, and she has an 18-year-old son, Elijah. She discovered Oldsmar in 2003 when her son was invited to a kindergarten's birthday party in Arields Park. She was astonished. From that moment on, she frequently returned to visit parks and search for homes in Oldsmar until she finally found one in 2011. She was in heaven. Gina wanted to do more for the city that she had come to love as much as her hometown as Erlanger, Kentucky. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. I met Gina in 2012 on the campaign trail. I was driving my 1967 VW yellow bus, and I pulled into the driveway next door because on Shore Drive East, you really can't park on the road, so I didn't have any place to park. So I went into her neighbor's driveway, and what did your neighbor say when she came out?
Get that bus out of my driveway.
Gina was in the front yard, and then Gina invited me to take my VW bus and park it in her driveway so I could continue on my campaign trail, and she even let me put a sign in her driveway. So thank you for that, in her yard. Shortly after that, Gina contacted Oldsmar Cares, where I was on the board at that time with my wife, Paula. She was looking for opportunities to help where she could in the city of Oldsmar. In 2014, I asked Gina if she would like to help with the Oldsmar Centennial. She became the volunteer coordinator of the Centennial Task Force Committee, and Gina and I set up the first event at Gull Air. It was just you and me, and we handed out postcards. It was, even though it was 2 years ahead of the Centennial, Gina was my first helper in the Centennial. And what did we do for lunch?
I had soup made by some beautiful resident in Golair Village.
Yes, it was homemade chicken soup, and they had ham and cheese sandwiches. Remember that? I had the ham.
All about the food.
It was about the food.
All about the
Why am I shocked that you don't know about the food?
Hurry on, Dan's getting on.
All right. Yeah, that was a fun event, and that was the first time when we started promoting the Centennial, and people were saying, "What's 2 years out? What are you doing here? It's too soon." All right. Gina attended every meeting and every event of the Centennial. Your boss, Chris Izzo, as I said that right, Izzo, let you attend the 4 p.m. meetings on Wednesday. He even let you out of work early every day. I had the honor to sit with him at dinner at your wedding, and I thanked him for his generosity. That was very nice of him to let you do that. Also in 2014, Gina attended the Oldsmar Janice Miller Citizens Academy. During that class, she filled out an application for the Leisure Services Advisory Board. In 2015, she became a member, and she remains on that board now. Yes, thank God. After the Centennial was over, she continued to volunteer at events when she could. Most recently, she served hot dogs with Laura at the Memorial Day ceremony, and she also worked at Oldsmar Day's beer tent. Today, Gina is the secretary and treasurer of Oldsmar Cares. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is this great invention you came up with Oldsmar Rocks. How did you come up with that?
I didn't invent that.
Okay. Well, how did it get started?
It started a while back in, I think, North Dakota. That's the story I got. There are actually a lot of them. But the way it started in Oldsmar is there was a lady named Michelle from Newport Richey, and she had a site. I searched to see if there was an Oldsmar Rocks, and sure enough, there was, but there were only 26 members when I saw it. And I said, there's no way this can be Oldsmar, Florida, because my Oldsmar is going to love this idea. We're so artsy over here. So I reached out to her and asked if it was indeed Oldsmar, Florida, and she said yes, but that she wasn't from Oldsmar. And I said, well, I'd be happy to help you promote your page. And she added me as an admin, and then we kind of took off from there.
Well, it's a huge success. You've brought in the community together. I see all kinds of people painting rocks and finding them in all the parks in our city. So congratulations on that. It's excellent that you got that started. Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, I painted you a rock.
It looks like a sandwich.
That one's a heart, and this one says, "You are number one."
Thank you.
She also volunteers at the American Heart Association often as she can possibly to pay tribute to her grandmother, your grandfather, and your mother. And I just want you to know your mother's watching. She was a special person. She was fantastic. Gina loves Oldsmar more than she ever imagined possibly, and intends to remain active in the community as she can. I personally want to thank you, Gina, for your dedication to the city of Oldsmar, your desire to help others with Oldsmar Cares, but most of all, your leadership in helping secure a Success Centennial, and your leadership with the Oldsmar Rocks program. It gives me an honor to represent the Council Manager Award of Recognition presented to Gina Rogers Price, June 2017.
Hey, Dan, you think she might want to say something?
No, Dan won't let her.
Elijah, will you come up real quick? I want to just talk. Yeah. Elijah? Hello, test. Elijah, I got the opportunity. This is Gina's son. I just had the opportunity to speak with him at the Oldsmar Cares groundbreaking, and I want to tell you, Elijah, I am very proud of you. He is about to embark in becoming a doctor. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Well, that is fantastic. And what were you telling me about the blood and stuff?
Oh, it doesn't bother me at all.
All right. Well, that's why I just wanted to congratulate you on that and give your mom a hug.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
She does work hard for the city of Oldsmar. Now, Dan, you're under oath. Did you paint that rock or did Paula paint that rock?
Paula painted it.
We all know. We all know.
Just wanted to clarify that for the record. Item number 8, I just want to recognize Dottie again, and that was great. What a turnout for turning 100 years old. So congratulations to Dottie and her family, and if you can make it out Sunday to Gull Air, that would be great. Our next item is a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. I will go ahead and read that. Parks and Recreation Month, whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout the country, including the city of Oldsmar, and whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally and physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens, and whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, and whereas the city of Oldsmar recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the city of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim July 2017 as Park and Recreation Month in the city of Oldsmar, dated the 20th day of June 2017. And I'm presenting this to Felicia and Ken, if you can come up too.
Most everybody here will not understand what I'm about to say, but I will tell you now, I have been right all the time. It's called Parks and Rec.
You're rubbing off on me. I'm bringing my own candy. You're rubbing off on me. I brought my own candy. One more. Hopefully they get a picture of me.
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. While that proclamation is long and the impact is major for Parks and Recreation, as substantial, I always like to remember that parks bring a little cheer. So I use the acronym CHEER, C for community building, right? Parks do that. H for health, E for environmental, and E for economic impact. And then I threw the R on there for repeat. He didn't sound good. So here's to a cheer for Parks and Recreation.
You want it from the seal.
Oh. She doesn't want Jerry and I in the background snacking on chocolate.
Before we take the photo, I'd like to introduce Alexis Wells to our team. Alexis, can you come up? Alexis is Alexis is a Parks and Recreation professional for the last 14 years. He's our new park superintendent. He is a certified international arborist, which means he actually can be an arborist anywhere in the world. He's a certified horticulturalist. He's a member of the Florida Nursery Growers Landscape Association, and he was actually the lead faculty member for the Parks Management Institute for the Florida Recreation and Parks Association. So we're thrilled to have him here. Thank you.
Sounds like it.
And we stole him from Clearwater.
This is not going to be an attractive photo.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Oh, yeah. All right. Man, I thought they were all here for the meeting.
Thank you. I can't wait for Doug to pronounce this next one.
All right, next is item 10, consider the following reappointment to the Board of Adjustments, Cleveland Smith, Mark Brill, and Dale Renbuer.
Dale's not here.
Oh, don't tell me he's not here.
I know.
Dale's not here.
I was, as soon as I saw it, I said, I can't believe Dale's not here.
I said it right.
Come on up, gentlemen.
A little extra
Renbuer.
accent, but.
Well, come up and thank you. As you know, probably, we've kind of adjusted it that if it's reappointments that we don't necessarily ask that you be here. So we'll give Dale a pass on that.
I don't think you should have said that, Mayor.
Oh, make him go like, what?
Because both of them are.
No, we gotta come, he gotta come.
Work.
He's at work. Either one of you two want to vouch for him?
No,
Mike was just up here.
let her vouch.
Did I say it right?
She left.
Oh, she left. Well, thanks again for, the Board of Adjustments is a tough board to be on. I think it's the only board higher than us, isn't that correct?
Higher than you? But you're at the top.
Top.
We can't tell the board what to do.
But we can't tell them what to do, right?
Quasi judicial.
That's what I mean. So we can't override them, so they're slightly higher than us, so.
Yeah, well, I served on that board and we were higher.
So watch your step.
Just glad you guys handled that last variance and it didn't come to us.
Well, thank you. Does anybody have any questions of Cleveland and Mark?
I have a comment. Mark's been a resident of Oldsmar, I think, almost longer than
86.
I had. Well, close. He's been an incredible resident of Oldsmar, and the other guy over there, Cleveland. I met Cleveland the first time when he moved into his house, and I came and welcomed him to the city of Oldsmar. So I've known Cleveland not quite as long as I've known Mark.
I bet you weren't given any history lessons
Yeah,
anymore.
I would like to thank you. I've noted the time for your strength in holding off till 8:10 on your vow to not have history lessons.
Well, actually, if you think about it, the way he phrased that, he did not give the lesson.
I know.
Give it, so he's.
No, I'm talking about the 8:10 when he said it before about the property, so.
I will comment. I had the privilege of serving with both of these gentlemen when I served on the Board of Adjustments. And thank you for your hard work. And that board sometimes is not always the funnest. It reminds me of this board sometimes. But you do a great job, and I think you do a good job for the people.
And Cleveland's also with the, in a important capacity of the Pinellas County SO,
Yeah,
Sheriff's Department.
yep.
Motion to approve?
I'm second. I can't do that. Where was I? Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Passes. That's a first. Thanks. Thank you for your time.
Guys.
Thanks for coming.
Get ready for your way out.
What is wrong with me? Presentation of the Government Finance Officers Association Budget Award. This is also known as the Heavy Award. Cindy, come on up.
How many awards like this has this department gotten now? Cindy? How many do you have?
This isn't the one that we got 72 of.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you. It's heavy. Don't drop it on your toes. Before you say anything, would you like to introduce your staff?
Certainly. These are
Minus
the.
Al.
This is Amy Ratliff, our accounting supervisor. Katie Doherty.
Works better when you
Sorry.
talk into
Yeah. Katie Doherty. She is now our procurement specialist, but she worked on the budget last year as our senior admin assistant. Garrett Zeliff, our budget and financial analyst. He does a lot of the heavy lifting on the budget process. And Sandy Winkler, she does our capital budget. She's our financial analyst.
Tell us about the award. What goes into getting that?
The award is something we kind of set our sights on a few years ago, and well, about 6 years ago, I guess. And it was an award that we could get from our National Government Finance Officers Association. So we started with the check. We started going to classes, and we started with a huge checklist of different things we had to go through and add to our document. You know, at first it didn't seem like we were going to be able to do it easily, but we worked hard, and then every year we improved our document more and more, and then finally we submitted it for 2013, and we got it. So that was the first one, and we've got it every year since.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For the record, I'm on the board of directors of the PSTA, and they got their first one the other day. But I just made sure that I let them know that Oldsmar got theirs in 2013, their first one, so. There you go. Al, you don't want me in this, do you, huh? Thank you, sir. What's that?
Congratulations, guys. Good job.
Next is the presentation by Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Center. Janet? Yes. How are you?
I was almost all gone. I'm sure you don't know.
You wanted me to move you up after the birthday, didn't you?
Actually, it was quite interesting, having been in your seats before and having some of those interesting discussions. But for the record, I'm Janet Hooper, 601 5th Street South, Safety Harbor. I'm the executive director of the Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Center. And normally when I come and talk, I talk about the 4 basic things that the Family Center does. And, you know, we do critical basic needs, financial assistance, career development, and help children, which is really important for us academically, which so that they can become positive contributors to society. So that's what I normally talk about. But I'm going to talk a little bit differently today. There are 2,500 children under the age of 18 in the 4 zip codes that we serve. 800 plus are in Oldsmar, 650 something are in Safety Harbor, and then we have about 1,000 over in the eastern side of Clearwater. And one of the things that happens is people start thinking, well, they're living in poverty because, and poverty means that there's drugs and crime, and poverty means this, and poverty means that. We have 24,000 people that come through our center every day, or every year. And that's not what it means at all. Now, we have families who are living, are working poor, making minimum wage, both parents trying to work. I know I'm going to get a history lesson coming up soon from Mr. Beaverland.
There you are.
Yeah, but the reality is, what we envision those people to be are not what they are. They just aren't. They're hardworking people that have issues or have struggles, and some people we see only a little bit, and some people we see quite a bit, depending on what the circumstances are. And the whole point is giving the hand up and not the hand out. So for Oldsmar, what we try to do is we complement Oldsmar Cares because we have a food pantry, and theirs has really grown, but in the beginning, we were one of the major sources for the people in Oldsmar. And we partner with them. So when the Public Defender's Office gave us food, we share it with Oldsmar Care so that they have food to give kids so that they won't go hungry on the weekends. Because there are kids, I think it's 58% of the kids that are on free and reduced lunch in the Oldsmar schools. Right? So we do that to partner with them. They have a bigger clothing closet, I think. We've tried to match theirs. Mike and I talked a lot back in the very beginning when Oldsmar Cares was growing. But we also do the program at the elementary school, and that's very, very important. Now, the difference with the elementary school, Oldsmar Elementary, is that the school picks the kids, and it's not necessarily based on income. It's based on academics. So that kind of skewers it to some degree, but the kids that need help get help. We right now have kids that are going to summer camp. We weren't able to use Westminster, so we last summer we were driving 10 or 12 kids from Westminster Apartments over to Bayside Church, just over the bridge, for a summer camp experience. So those are the things that we try to do to make sure that kids get what they need and have, especially academically, because even our summer camps are academically based. Our after-school program is geared towards academics. And I don't have the detail from, because the new principal came in, I didn't get the detail. But at Safety Harbor, we had 42 out of our 48 kids made the honor roll last year. And that's and what we do in Oldsmar is a little bit different program, but it's fourth graders on Tuesdays or Mondays and Wednesdays, and fifth graders on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the whole thing is to make sure that these kids have an opportunity to be successful. Because if they can't read, we all know they're going nowhere. If they can't read, there's no place that they can get to. And so it's real important that we give that help if they need help with reading, give that help if they need help with math. I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever tried to help a kid with the new math that they're teaching, I mean, they need a class for the parents, and I'm not surprised that the parents can't do it. I had to send our instructors over to the school to figure out how they were doing it so we could teach the kids to do it the way they do it in school, because if they do it the other way, the way we all knew, the teacher would say it's not done right. So
even though the answer is right.
Yeah, you know the answer is right, but you didn't get there the right way. So it's really, really important for what we do and the services that we try to bring to Oldsmar and complement Oldsmar Cares. And we still give out utility assistance for Oldsmar families as well, because there's never enough. I don't know if you've ever figured out how much you can live on when you're just making minimum wage, but it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And these families who have both parents working, or if there's a single mom with children, they struggle. And I know the Juvenile Welfare Board once told us, well, we want the parents to sit down and read with the kids. And I said, the parents are trying to put food on the table and keep the lights on. They're working two jobs. You need to make sure that they have opportunities. If you can't be there for them, that they have other opportunities. And that's what we try to provide for them. I think that's, Oldsmar Care tries to provide food so that they can be able to focus on other needs. And I think those are critical services that get provided in Oldsmar and in Safety Harbor. I think it's really critical that everybody understand that not everybody has it as easy as some other people. And it isn't that they're lazy. It is that they didn't have the opportunities some other people had, or that they don't have the skills that some of the other people have. And so it becomes very difficult. But we want to make sure the kids have an opportunity, and that the kids have an opportunity to be successful. And so, this is kind of my different kind of talk for all of you. I know that we've given Ann all the annual reports. And yeah, you have our funding request, of course, because for us, that's critical. We are the lowest funded family center of all of them from Juvenile Welfare Board, and it's very important that we find other ways to be able to continue the programs that we do. And we do it on a shoestring budget. And, I know Oldsmar Cares talked about having 5,000, and we have 24,000 annually. It's huge. And we have some of the similar issues. We're on a street where it's a dead end, where there's parking issues when we have the food pantry, and we've tried to work very well with our neighbors to try and solve some of those issues so that we can still serve without impacting negatively on the residents. But I urge you to take a look. It's halfway through, but it's still a calendar. I mean, you get 6 months. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have of me and the Family Center.
I do have a question. You mentioned something, and I don't know what it's based on, but why is yours the lowest funded by the JWB? Is it based on size?
No, well, I think in the beginning it was based on area. Well, it was originally based on just serving Safety Harbor, and then they asked us to expand, but then we never. And I think recently what it's been is that the executive director there believes, since I have fundraising experience, that some of the other agencies don't have that capacity. So I can't really answer the question other than to say, we keep working as hard as we can to find a way to serve.
Yeah,
I keep fighting with them. I keep applying for more funding, but and we'll continue to do that. But
I can't speak for the council, but I mean, I would think that if there's anything that we can do to
Okay.
help,
Well, then
even
maybe
ask that the Juvenile Welfare Board revisit that you are serving an expanded area that you weren't originally when they started funding you. I mean, I don't know what the council thinks, but your
I
service
appreciate
area
a
has
letter of
increased.
support. I think that would help. I do believe that would help.
Is that okay with the council if I write something on behalf of that? Is that
Yes.
Is that all right? If I write a letter asking that maybe the Juvenile Welfare Board reconsider their service area. Gabby, you all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about how you get the word out to the citizens to know about the organization? And because I don't know that we hear a lot about the organization in Oldsmar. I know you do a lot of work, but I'm just curious what you do to try to get the message out.
Well, most recently we were able to have somebody volunteer to do our Facebook page. So we've been much more more social media oriented and gotten the word out a lot more. In the beginning, it was a dog and pony show. It was me going out to, I'd be a member of all the clubs and be active in the community and talk. And sometimes that's how you start. Made a lot of connections and started passing the word. Every year, it's interesting because every year the city allows us to put in a flyer for Adopt a Child for Christmas, and it goes in the water bills. And yet, invariably, people in February say, well, I've never heard of the Maddie Williams Neighborhood Family Center. And I go, really? You sent me a check. because they didn't put it together, because they do know, but they don't know. But it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle. We're active in the school, and we work well with the schools. Even when we do our backpacks, which is coming up, we make sure that all the Oldsmar schools and all the elementary schools in our service area get extra backpacks. So if a child shows up that day and didn't sign up for a backpack distribution, the school had one to give them. And you can quietly give them one so that there's no embarrassment, there's no problem. So the issue is it's constant. It's being involved in social media, but we don't have some of the capacity. I mean, there are people who spend thousands and thousands of dollars to build a brand and build a Facebook page. We'd rather feed a family, and so we tried to do it on the shoestring budget. But we do try to provide stuff up to Holly so that you guys have some information about some of the things we're doing. We're getting bigger with our Bands and Beer on the Bay, which we co-partner with Kiwanis to, we do a big waterfront park. We have the Black Honkies there. You guys are all familiar with them. We've raised about we raised $20,000 the first year and $18,000 the second year. So those kinds of things, because now we're on the radio. Now those kinds of things are expanding our visibility, so to speak. But it's hard because you don't want to really spend money to do some of that. You just utilize what you can.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Go ahead. I had just a quick question about the summer camps, the bright idea summer camps. How many days of the week is that when a student is enrolled?
5 days a week,
For the entire
8
summer?
to 6,
Wow, that's great.
10 weeks.
You could put your kid in summer camp for 2 months, from 8 to 6, 5 days a
I
week.
don't have any kids to put in
I'm
summer
just
camp.
saying.
How'd you look at me?
$275.
That is,
And if you can't afford it, we find scholarships.
because I
That's
mean,
it.
even my parents who pay for summer camps for my nieces, they complain of the costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, they're not a low-income family, and it's expensive. So I think that's great. I'm glad that you're doing that, and I'm happy to support that.
We raised $12,000 last year in scholarship funds to help. Now, the Oldsmar kids in the school do not pay anything. That's free to all the kids. The camps do cost for them, but the kids in Safety Harbor do pay, or we get scholarships. So.
How many kids in summer camp did you say?
At summer camp, we have 52 at the center, and we have 25 at Bayside Church.
Okay.
Wow, great.
You'd get a lot more if promoted it more. I mean,
Yeah, probably. But I just may not be able to find staff.
I was going to say, did you hear her gas? She just gasped.
more kids.
It's a lot of kids to have every day,
And program.
and programming, and it's a real challenge. I mean, there's a reason they have camps, right? Because the parents don't want to deal with them all day. So truly, it's how do you keep elementary school kids busy for 8 hours is a miracle.
Yeah.
So.
She hears this from me every year, and she'll continue to hear this from me every year if I ever stay up here, or if I stay up here. I'm always for helping kids, and the way they do it, I help them. But somehow I wish we could determine, you say we service all the kids in Oldsmar, then the next phrase you say in the 3477 district. That's not Oldsmar.
I understand.
Okay, but I don't want to go any further. I just want to make that known that 3477 is not just the city of Oldsmar.
That's correct.
So whoever you help outside of this city is fine. I know, but that still doesn't tell me a lot. Now, some people are probably tired of hearing this, and you know what? I really don't care. If you're tired of hearing me say this, then walk outside or close your ears. My father died when I was 12 years old. My mama and my brother ended up in 1947 from the state of Idaho in Largo, Florida, and we had absolutely no damn place to stay, because the man that my mother followed dumped her, and my dad died. When I was 13 years old, I was out working at a damn bowling alley in Clearwater for $1 a night, and we had absolutely nobody to go to for help. We lived in a damn house on Ridge Road, an old Grove house that Mrs. Cadman let us stay in there. My mother had to walk 4 miles to go to be a waitress. The windows in the houses were broken out, and all my brother and I had was rugs to sleep on, and we had orange crates for a table and chairs. And nobody to help us. Nobody. And so any organization that helps families that you haven't had a problem, and you don't have anything to eat, and a lady in a little restaurant where we finally moved into Largo on my $1 a night, $7 a week. She fed my brother and I every night. I applaud any organization that helps people that are down and out, because I've been there, and it can be embarrassing. Oldsmar cares, and y'all, even though I get aggravated sometimes giving money to, when you have paid employees, but that's just me. I don't want to go into that. But thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Because we didn't have any money for clothes or food. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any other questions? Thank you, Janet.
Our food pantry is all volunteer run, and we use volunteers a lot, but not to teach the kids. We use
I imagine
teachers.
it takes paid people to take care of kids for 8 hours a day.
I'm not
But
complaining about that.
I know,
They
and
help.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And we're getting ready to bombard Oldsmar Cares with, not canned goods, which is fine, but a lot of really great lightly used clothing. So if they can't, I'll probably suggest that they reach out to you guys.
Okay, well, and the Rotary Club in Safety Harbor is doing Souls for Souls, collecting new shoes. And so if there's a need for shoes, let me know.
Okay,
because we'll
great.
pass them
Thank
on.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Next is our city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, council members, item number 13 on your agenda is the second and final reading and public hearing for ordinance 2017-09. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2017-09, an ordinance declaring the intention of the city of Oldsmar, Florida, to annex certain real property located in section 22, township 28 south, range 16 east, further described as lot 22, block 17, map of section number 1, West Oldsmar. Parcel number 22, 2816, 96660, 017, 0220, into the corporate limits of the city of Oldsmar, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2017-09 by title only.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to address this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion on this item?
One more.
One more. Hearing no discussion, please call the roll.
Councilmember Seidel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember McKee?
Yes.
Councilmember Beverly?
Absolutely.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Second and final reading of ordinance 2017-09, annexing 3156 Huron Avenue is passed and adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and council, item 14, approved site plan for Auto Styles Incorporated located at 3947 Tampa Road. I'd like to ask our Planning and Redevelopment Director, Marie Dauphiné, to present the staff report. This property is part of the Crossings development at the corner of Tampa Road and Commerce Boulevard.
Can we turn it over to Tom to swear everybody in?
Before we get started, anyone that wants to speak on this particular agenda item, if you could stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn under oath. Swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead,
I'm glad
Marie.
you put them under oath.
Marie Dauphiné, Planning and Redevelopment Director. I'm going to ask you to advance your PowerPoint that you have. This isn't working. Okay, Ivan, next slide.
Everybody have their handout? Okay.
Okay, this property is located at the Crossings at Oldsmar Phase 2, and it's Lot 2. It's located along the Tampa Road corridor, and it's on M1.
Jerry, Jerry, you're looking for this?
I have.
Oh, you got it, okay.
I have that.
The applicant proposes to construct a 9,375 square foot automotive electronics building. Next slide. It's located in Phase 2, as I said, and it's located between Gilco Springs and the Learning Experience, a daycare center. Next slide. The existing conditions, it's a vacant lot. However, the infrastructure, including parking and utilities, are already in place for this lot. It was approved for a restaurant in 2010. Next slide. That's the to the east, Gilco Springs. To the west, the Learning Center. Next slide. Automobile services uses are permitted in the M1 district. Next slide. Auto Styles will provide services such as window tinting, paint protection, automobile and marine upholstery, car and marine audio, radio and laser protection, car DVD and navigation systems, car alarms, and backup sensor cameras. Next slide. So this is an elevation of what the building is going to look like. We called out the location of the garage door that we're going to discuss shortly. So you can see that the colors meet the requirements of the Tampa Road corridor. They're muted colors, earth tones, and then they have maroon accents, which is permitted by the code. Next slide. I think I already went through that. Advance to the next slide. The Tampa Road corridor does not permit garage doors facing onto Tampa Road. But if they are, they must be screened from view. So the applicant actually provided 3 tiers of landscaping. First, when you looked at the facade of the building, you'll notice that the garage door was actually recessed and then it was bumped out, so it kind of provides some kind of screening. He also relocated one of the landscaped islands sort of in front of the garage door, so that provided additional screening. And finally, you can see here from the picture or the rendering that he is providing planting in the front landscape buffer along Tampa Road. And he wasn't really required to do that per the previous development, but he's done that to kind of shield or screen this garage door. Next slide. So staff is recommending approval of the major amendment to construct a 9,375 square foot automotive electronics building on Lot 2 at the crossings of Oldsmar Phase 2. So I'd like to enter the staff report into the record and answer any questions.
And you recommended this?
Yes, staff is recommending approval.
Isn't there something in there you can find to give them a little problem?
We worked very well with the applicant, and
We could just complain about the garage door or the paint
Some-
color.
I mean, we really worked, well with the applicant, and in particular, the garage door was an issue, and they complied, and actually, they gave us 3 different levels of screening. So when you drive by, you're not going to see this garage door. And the business owner explained to us that he's only going to use, open that really for like larger vehicles. Most of it's going to be from the rear.
You know what the city of Oldsmar has done? Has actually educated my good friend out there how to actually design a building. Wait, now, let me tell you something. It was something other than that you would blame him for.
Let's, any questions of staff?
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Applicant's presentation.
Do we have a time frame? Do we have a time frame, roughly?
If you
You
could,
hope to start.
Yeah. Start, stop, start, end. You come up to the mic. Can you come up to the?
we need to get you on the microphone, please. It's a quasi judicial hearing.
That's why we put him under oath.
John Sapir with Randmar Development. Commencement date is as soon as we get site plan approval and building permit, and it'll probably take 6 months or so to build.
Okay. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? No?
Okay, proponents.
Any proponents? Any opponents? Nope. Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this? I was a little concerned about the garage door, but I think the way they're trying to accommodate it is, and I assume the color is going to be the same as the rest of the building, not like a garage door. So.
I was just concerned about the comments coming from the applicant, so I'm just letting it roll.
All right.
And I just want to make clear that the motion is to approve staff recommendation.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep. Motion and a second. No other discussion. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Sidel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember McKee?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaverland?
Yes.
Mayor Beavis?
Aye.
Major Amendment 17-01, 3947 Tampa Road is approved with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 15, approved contract with CBRE for commercial real estate services. CBRE Incorporated was selected as the preferred firm on March 21st. We have negotiated a contract for these services, and they include, well, actually, I'd like Ms. Dauphiné to give you a little more background.
To continue what the city manager said, the 3-year agreement contains tasks that CBRE might perform for the city, such as strategies for sale of city-owned properties, marketing services, advisory, property management, and other associated services. So they're really going to be our consultant with regards to city-owned property.
Excuse me. Okay.
And I believe the applicant's here, or somebody. Oh,
The applicant.
thanks, from CBRE to kind of go over or answer any questions you may have.
So they'll provide assistance as requested. It'll be on a work order or task assigned basis related to the purchase of property, sale of property, leasing as both a potentially lessee or lessor, and appraisal services, marketing, and associated commercial real estate projects. We recommend approval of the contract for commercial real estate services with CBRE Incorporated.
Thank you.
Is this when we wanted to talk about downtown?
Well, I think that's, I guess you can ask the question. I was going to ask the question of, as to, we talked about this at the workshop, as to, what's the game plan for engaging them and all of us having discussion and dialogue about the property next door? Is that kind of what?
Marking it all
Yeah,
together,
that-
piecemealing
what the
it
best
out, we
approach
talked
is.
about.
Well, I think that will be in the near future. I mean, they are aware of the City Hall Goodrich property, and even though they were not under contract, that has been discussed with them already, but, we want to get the contract approved
And I guess, Marie, I stopped down to see Marie today to get a site plan for that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, and I get this, that oftentimes real estate firms are brought in to help cities or counties or whatever dispose of property that, that they don't want, and that's clearly not the case with this. We're not trying to dispose of it because it's nuisance property and everything. We actually have a plan and a thing, a vision for that property. Is that okay? We're on different pages with that it's not a distressed property that we need to get rid of for funding or anything like that. So we actually want to do something great with it. So good, we look forward to working with them. Oh, not yet, we don't. I need a motion.
Motion?
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
No.
No? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Look forward to
Now we look
working
forward to
together.
working with you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item, approved contract with Kimley Horn and Associates for multimodal transportation plan. Kimley Horn was selected as the preferred firm on May 2nd. We have negotiated a professional services agreement with the firm. This item is a council priority from the current year and was carried over to the coming year of 17 and 18. We had some discussion about this at the planning conference Friday. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those. We also have a representative of Kimley Horn with us this evening. Tonight I am recommending that you approve the agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated to develop a citywide multimodal transportation plan. This project is budgeted in the the multimodal impact fee fund at $50,000.
Okay, we did have dialogue about this at the workshop. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And discussion on this item. Jerry, you got any input?
The only input is what I've said before. To me, it doesn't make any sense, but that's fine.
Okay. Duly noted. Any other discussion?
Well, let me just expound on that a little bit. It's not something that Kimberly Horn is all bad about. It's just that we're going to devise a transportation model plan for what? For what? How to get out of Oldsmar or how to get into Oldsmar. It doesn't make any sense if you aren't working with other units, other governments, and the other governments can't get together to decide what they're going to do because they have no damn idea what to do, and they're an embarrassment.
You talking about the Pinellas Trail?
I think, are you talking about the bananas?
Where's the bridge?
See, there you go. I mean, that's all part of it. I told the mayor not too long ago, and he said, well, no, he had faith in it, and that's great to have faith in it. Pinellas County and Hillsborough County and Pasco County will never get together on their, Tampa's already killed it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a different opinion being active on some of these different
I know
boards.
you do,
That I think that
and I
we're,
appreciate that, but Tampa has basically killed it for a while.
yeah, I mean, I think there are other things that we can do within Pinellas County that help, that this can fit into, you know, their plans moving
I
forward.
totally agree to you. I don't want to drag this out, Mayor, because you do say I drag things out, but let me, bring to me some other unit, or whoever of Pinellas County, and tell me, convince me that they're going to work with us. Convince me that they're going to work with us, and I would vote for this.
Okay. In the not too distant future, I'll do that. How about that?
Bruce, can you maybe comment a little bit in terms of the difference in depth that we should expect as to why this isn't a task that could be done by staff versus outsourcing it?
Well, it's going to be pretty comprehensive in what they look at, both in the modes of transportation to include automobile and truck. Freight's pretty significant to Oldsmar as far as, you know, because of the number of industries moving truck traffic in and out. The major modes of transportation include pedestrian, bicycle, and then there's also a transit element, public transit, which at the present time is limited to bus service with the PSTA, but they'll look at potential connections or improve or different options to connect with Hillsborough County Transit. And then longer range, there's the CSX rail and how that would play into public transit potentially in the future. So it could be everything from pedestrian activity, like is there, well, the Tampa Road overpass would be part of that, but are there locations that presently don't have a pedestrian signal that maybe need a pedestrian signal? Might look at school crossings and, you know, how are they functioning and working? And then the other is how you put all the pieces together and make the connections with our other neighbors, meaning Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, and the city of Safety Harbor. Another item that's out there that would be part of this, I expect, is the proposal to develop a trail between Safety Harbor and Oldsmar, dedicated bicycle pedestrian trail. So basically, I don't think the staff has the time to undertake this, particularly given the current
Priorities.
projects that we have ongoing in terms of city projects and you know, private development projects. Of course, this doesn't happen every meeting, but you know, we had 2 site plans to approve tonight or to review and look at. And I think that my expectation is, particularly in the CRA, we need to do a lot of work there in the next year, or working on this CRA.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I think I just heard you saying, to Councilmember Beaverland's point, is that I think that the cooperative effort between the city of Oldsmar and the city of Safety Harbor will involve the MPO for the pedestrian connection over the bridge. Is that safe to say?
It will. I think one of the other things that this plan will do for us is increase our likelihood of gaining additional funds, because we'll have this as a document that Kimley Horn is well recognized and has an excellent reputation in transportation planning. So I think we can hopefully leverage this into some financial projects down the road.
And I can tell you, Jerry, you've been on the MPO before, but you know that currently the MPO is organizationally in a much better place than it's probably been in the past. That they're listening to what the DOT is saying about, you know, priority list and things like that, and and to be able to have the study to show that, you know, that we've done, we're not just throwing a wish out there, that there's a, you know, a study that this supports. And Whit and I had the discussion the other day that, you know, as Jerry knows, you can study things to death and nothing ever get done. And Whit's of the thought, which he's the head of the MPO, he's of the thought that, you know, if you're doing a study, you know, not that it guarantees that you're going to have a positive outcome, but, you know, do ones that, you know, hopefully have a positive outcome. So I think that's the hope with this. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but, you know, if at least we have something, we can get on a list to potentially get some funding for it.
Well, I know that the part of the deliverables is to do a deep dive on a lot of information from Ford, Pinellas, PSTA, and a lot of other sources that would naturally tie you in, you would hope. So,
Yeah, I just think they're, go ahead.
We hope.
Well, I just think I think we're positioned better than we have been in many, many years with the different organizations.
And you know, Jerry, I have the same, but my concern is just the expenditure when you're trying to understand where does it really all fit. But in my mind, there's a couple of core things to this. That one, I do agree that as potential things happen with rail, these other opportunities, we are a step in front, because we're not just saying the rail runs through here. We're saying the rail runs through here. Here's the research and validated reports and that we've invested in. So we're vested in this versus someone else. The other thing that is today, and a growing, I think, issue is some of the issue that we could be facing with continuing to improve freight, specifically for our industrial area. And I think transportation-wise.
To attract more industrial as well.
Sure.
Well, I could debate that with you, but that.
I had an office back there. Let me tell you something. Freight's a problem.
Yeah.
Just telling you right up.
You're gonna, never mind. I'd rather take.
I'm not really trying to engage you in debate. I'm just sharing my opinion.
I can take that $50,000 and use it.
I think he said Pinellas Trail.
Use it at a different place.
I don't think you did.
That will actually accent the city, whether it's environmental or whatever it is, we could accent the city with it better than a study that.
Okay.
That's not going to cooperate. No, we're not going to cooperate with anybody. And when the rail comes in, and the rail will come in someday, no matter what we study with it, no matter what we talk about it, no matter what we have documented about the rail's there, and we'll never control it. Now, when Hillsborough County and Pinellas County finally get their heads together, and finally gets their brains working right, then I'd say, let's go for it. But until then.
You know, it sounds a lot like, will we ever have our own water plant?
No, this doesn't.
I mean, it's huge.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly, because we didn't have to work with anyone else except the idiots of Swift Mud.
There's no one else, right?
But we were never, I won't tell you what, if they didn't have the change of the top people, we'd still be talking about it. And that only happened because we knew, in fact, we should give him an award somehow. Now, I've even thought about it, bringing him in as a council manager award. Without him being the head of it, we'd still be talking about the water plant.
All right.
It was me.
I know.
It was me. It wasn't him.
Thank you for ownership.
I'll take ownership. I have no other.
I need a motion. I forgot to do that. Motion it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hello, down there?
No.
Okay. All those opposed?
No, yes.
Wait, that was confusing.
I'm opposed.
Opposed. 4-1. Thank you.
And I'm so happy to be on the tail end of that.
We know
4-1,
you are.
You can't believe it.
We know.
Thank you.
We'll give you the tail end award sometime.
That's fine. I've been there before.
Mayor and Council, the next item is adopt resolution 2017-06, revising the budget for the current year, FY 16-17. So this is one of 3 formal budget reviews that we typically do in March, June, and the fall of the year. There are three major parts impacting three funds of the proposed budget revision. These major components include the reorganization of staffing and leisure services, which we spent some time discussing last Friday. So we are moving some money within the divisions, but the total appropriation for the department is not changed. The second major component is there's a $500,000 transfer from the general fund to the capital improvement fund, and that would be used for design services for Oldsmar Sports Complex Phase 1A. The third part in the Water and Sewer Operating Fund is the appropriation of $2.3 million for the downtown waterline improvement project, which I know y'all are familiar with, and authorized advertising for bids at the last meeting. I mentioned that previously when we were talking about Oldsmar Cares tonight. I'll read the resolution by title only. This is the reading of Resolution 2017-06, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2016 and ending September 30, 2017, authorizing the city manager and the Director of Administrative Services to revise the existing budget. That's the reading of Resolution 2017-06 by title only. I recommend its adoption.
So moved.
Have a motion? Second? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. We all good?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor, did I ask for a vote?
Yes, you
Sorry,
did.
I apologize. I was slightly distracted there for a second.
passed.
Passed, 5-0, thank you.
That's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank
City
you.
Clerk.
Oh, nothing tonight,
No, how about next time?
perhaps.
Okay. Perhaps. City Council, we have a couple items. These two are really sketchy.
Well, I'm only going to approve number 18 if he's volunteering at the Florida League Conference to be the voting delegate.
Oh, you mean, oh, yeah, no,
We
you,
did that.
What?
No.
No, I'm talking about this one, though.
Sidell.
Have you ever done it before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've all done it.
Come on, I did it my first year. You thought I
Funny, I
got
did
away
it my
without
first
that.
year
I
too.
can't believe you guys don't like it. I
No,
love it.
it's good.
We're happy. You want to
Vice
vote?
Mayor, they
We'll-
changed that to new duty.
We can vote again on it if you want, just to
No.
reaffirm that.
I'm
you're
doing
there.
it. I'm
I think it's
going.
that whole getting up at like 6:30 in the morning on that.
You got
Fair to
coffee.
go, he's riding 10 miles
got
on a bike every
donuts.
morning.
They have food. That's what it is. Does your wife get you up every morning with food? It's like, damn.
I can't get her up. I'm up.
Uh-oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Approved excused absence for Councilmember Sidell, June 6th. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Passes
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you very much.
Approve excused absence of Vice Mayor Saraki. Since he voted for yours, you probably have to.
So moved.
Motion? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know, I wanted to be there. It's the rain. The rain.
Are you gonna
stopped.
vote?
Yeah, yes.
All right.
But I wanted to be at that meeting.
I know. All right. Oh, I know. Next is comments by council members. We will start with the historian.
Our vision statement states, partnering with families, businesses, and visitors to make Oldsmar a creative, vibrant, and thriving community. Our mission statement is to provide leadership, innovation, environmental stewardship, and excellent services in partnership with the community. I brought this up the other day, and I would add excellent services in partnership with the community,
Which one are you talking about?
always seeking perfection.
Oh, the mission statement? Okay.
Adding the words, always seeking perfection. I've said it, and there's no discussion on it. I just said, if we consider changing that to that,
Okay, what else you got?
and thank you all.
Really? Councilmember McGee, before he changes his mind.
Just, I would say, really enjoyed the planning conference per usual. I thought it was very productive, and we did it in in a good amount of time. So I was proud of us, and I think that we have some really great priorities, and I'm excited for the new ones that are coming for our city. I think we're on the right track. So I thought that was very well done. Thanks to staff, Scott, for leading that for us. And then lastly, I don't believe we talked, because I think this was after the last council meeting, but the church anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that Jerry and I went to. And,
I wish I'd have made it.
And it was awesome.
I would have loved to.
I've actually never been to like a Baptist church service, and I left there like
Energized.
Energized. I was hungry though, because it was about 2.5 hours long, but so much like music
Yeah.
and enthusiasm, and the women were wearing big hats, and it was awesome.
event.
It was awesome, and it was a small, it was a small service, but there was a woman there that was 100 years old.
Yeah.
So that was really neat, and Jerry got her to sign some things, and we took pictures with her. It was funny, the pastor said, that in the Bible it says, you have not because you ask not. And he said, and we came to city council and we said, we'd like you to join us, and here you are, and so I was like, I'm glad I showed up. But it was awesome.
I wish I'd have put it on my calendar because
Yeah, it was an awesome, so I encourage anyone that gets a chance to go over to Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
And an even more ironic thing, I think I told Jerry this, is my grandfather was a preacher. My family's Episcopal, and he originally started in the computer industry, and then about 18 years after working for IBM decided he wanted to become a preacher. And where he lived and where my mom grew up was Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, great opportunity. I'm so glad he came and invited us. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Seidel.
Well, I'm glad that Councilmember McGee made it back from Canada okay and did not get eaten by the bear.
I
which he
did
was
not even
concerned
see a
about.
bear, so I was
I just have a couple of comments on, we often will be critical, and it's probably more offline a little bit. Sometimes, we want to see improvements in this or that and everything, but, with a couple of the big things going on with looking for, starting the process, a session plan, and starting the process of looking for a city manager, and just the planning conference the other day, I think our staff's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Really do. We feel really good about where we're at a very important time.
They can
And,
hear us,
What's that?
They can hear you right now.
They'll be like, what's he want?
Yeah.
But no, I really
You're right.
feel good, and I think it's good for our citizens to hear that.
Yeah.
That, this is a big transition coming up. Your council members, I think, are aligned on our priorities. And, we had talked about, we added a couple new ones, but we didn't go, like, we're making big changes and getting off the strategic thinking. And at the same time that we're doing that, we're in the process of looking for our next city manager. And I think the process is going super well, and just want to give compliments to the staff and the team on the way that process is going. And the other thing is happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
Because we won't be here. I mean, the vice mayor will be here. We have a special meeting for him. That's all. That's all.
Wait, Dan, isn't that the meeting that you brought up like 6 months ago?
You're lucky I did.
That you asked for us not to be
Yeah,
here.
back in January.
I am lucky because I'm going to be out of the country, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I got.
Thank you. And just to your point too, I think I mentioned it at the conference, and I mentioned it at our succession plan meeting, that it is neat that not only us as a council, but us as a city with the department heads and the staff, I think we all kind of have the same vision for this city and are collectively all somewhat rowing in the same direction. So I think it's great. It makes moving forward a lot easier.
Bruce is over there going, it's about time.
Yeah.
For a second too, I have to say tonight with Dottie's birthday is one of the best moments that I have had being a part of on this council, because it is things like that I don't see in other cities. I mean, that was a feel-good moment that makes you feel proud to be a part of the city and the council. So I commend having that a part of this meeting, and even just the fact of the Oldsmar Cares, being able to compromise with our citizens and listening to our residents. It makes me feel good as a resident of a city that I could come to my council and have a concern about something being built, and that the council listens and addresses that and compromises. So I have to say, very proud to be a part of this meeting, except for not the length of time it was.
Well, it is what it is, so. Well, we get them every now and again, so they're still not as long as Safety Harbors. Anything else? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I like how you moved the birthday, the 100th birthday up. That was a good move. Because there was a lot of people
I
in there.
knew that's, yeah.
Good celebration. All I really have is, I just wanted to say the work session on Friday, I really feel that we all work really, really well together. And as Gabby and Eric said, it was a great meeting. And I really want to give my hats off to Scott Dudley. Scott McDuff, he did a great job.
Or McGuff.
McGuff. He did a great job, actually.
Especially on short notice. That was very short
Yeah,
notice.
I was very impressed. I liked how he handled the whole meeting. It was great. And that's about it. That's all I have. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
4th of July. I only have a couple of things. First of all, Gator, if you could share our thoughts and, passion for Judy, and hopefully everything goes well and we get her cantankerous butt back in here soon. So, but give her a big hug for us if you would, please.
I can't have her yet.
Well, yeah, you get her. All right. In spirit, give her a big hug, but tell her we all said hi. Interestingly, I met somebody at Pinellas University, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and he invited me. He's part of Pinellas Job Corps. So I went down there one day last week. It's down in St. Pete. Interesting facility. I had never been there. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Pinellas Job Corps, but it's a federally funded organization that provides room and board and education for kids, some that are troubled, some that, have lost their way, but really want to, as we said earlier today, they don't want to hand out, they want to hand up. And they have basically two different types of curriculums. One is in the medical field for nurse practitioners, I think it is, and some of the medical assistant fields and things like that. And then they have kind of more the facilities type. They have a facilities group that goes through that can do anything, anything, just like our facilities guys, anything from, building the environmental education center to hanging a new water fountain in City Hall and everything in between there. And then they also have a plumbing group and an electrical group. And one of the things they're looking for, and if it's all right with the council, he can explain it better than I can. And I think we can fit. I know we tried looking at Big Brothers. No, not Big Brothers. My brain's drawn a blank. Right here on Commerce. Goodwill. But that was just a big undertaking. And what they're looking to do is and it's really all on them. They get them here. They don't need the classroom like I think that was part of the other one, but, they would like us to even just entertain, bringing one on, to give them some hands-on experience. And, I don't know that we have necessarily something in the medical field unless there's an opportunity for them to fit into the fire department, but I don't know the legalities of that. But, or, in the city to help us in facilities and really hopefully give them some direction. So I don't know if that's something, he can explain it. I don't know if the council has any objection to having it. It really was an interesting visit. I got to tour the facility and, they kind of work at their own pace, how quick they want to get through it. But, it's a beautiful facility. They have, dorms that they stay in. They have, a cafeteria. They have recreational facilities things that they do. And so it's like a mini campus. And I think it's anywhere from age, I want to say 16 to 24, but they help them, with GEDs and things like that. And much like the one from Goodwill is that they make sure that they want to be a part of this. They're not being forced to be there, because that was my big concern is I wouldn't want somebody coming here that's kicking and screaming. These kids are looking for some direction and to get in. And again, this isn't a political statement, but it's a true statement that, the four-year college degree isn't for everybody. Sometimes the technical school or the vocational school or the hands-on is what fits better for some kids. So I don't know if that's something that, I know I don't know exactly why the other one, I know it was a lot because they wanted to do like 10 or 12 kids. I think maybe Al talked to them or something with Goodwill or.
Yeah, we talked to them 2 or 3 times. I think it was too big an undertaking for, what our commitment could be.
Right.
We have.
We have some interns already, I know.
Well, we do that, and we did initiate, or we're participating in a new program with the school district also.
Okay.
I think we're starting with 1 person. Is that right, Al? Yes, sir. Is that just for the summer, or is it ongoing? Yeah. So I know I haven't told you all about that, but that's something that we had not done previously as far as this program with the school board, but basically where they're.
That's in the clerk's office that we have? Right, yeah.
No, that's not what. No. Actually, there is an intern in the clerk's office,
Yeah.
but that's not the school board program, is it?
Oh, it's not?
No, she's in, I'm sorry, what did you say? She's in Ann's office.
Yes, okay, yes.
With Deb Paul.
Okay, all right, so that is one and the same?
Yeah.
That's through the school board, okay. And that's through what, Countryside High School or something?
Countryside, correct.
Yeah, and to that, I had asked if the Pinellas County Job Corps, had they reached out to the county, and shockingly, they had not, they're still trying to nurture that relationship. I'm also going to connect them with Jerry Custon of the chamber to look at them for the manufacturers, because that's one of the things is workforce, people to work, for the workforce, and it's light, so they might be able to take one. I don't know if you see any initial objection to at least having them come talk, or if there's anything. They hold all the paperwork and everything, and it sounds much easier to manage than the other one. Although the outcome could have been great for that, it was definitely a big undertaking what they were trying to do. So,
Well, I have no objection to having them make a presentation.
and then we can see if logistically it makes sense. So,
Sure.
and he said if there's an issue, they'll come get them, and it's not like we're locked in if it's something that doesn't work. So they'll take care of it. But anyway, any objection from the council to have him come speak? So, okay, perfect. Again, Judy, and thank you, Jerry, for holding out for 1 hour and 10 minutes on your first history lesson. We joke you sometimes. Thank you for being who you are, by the way, because I think you've had a big impact on all of us, I can tell you, over the years. So anyway, anything else? Tom, you got anything? Bruce, you got anything? Ann, Kathy? Anybody from the crowd? Too bad. Adjourn.